Do you have kidney disease and use a water softener at home? If you do, I have some very important news you need to hear coming right up. Hello kidney warriors, James here, your favorite kidney health coach. And we're going to talk about water softeners and how they could be sabotaging your kidney diet. But before we get to that, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dadvice TV, and click the little bell icon. That way you'll get a notification every time I upload a new video. Now to today's topic, water softeners. Water softeners are very common here in the United States, and they remove excess minerals that make your water hard. Usually this is calcium and magnesium. If those are left in your water, it's not good for your skin, it's not good for your pipes, it's not good for your dishwasher and other equipment. So it makes sense to use a device called a water softener to remove those. Now, water softeners use one of two chemicals, or minerals, I guess, to remove this. One is sodium chloride, which is salt. The other is potassium chloride, which is a salt substitute. Now, with kidney disease, you definitely do not want to use potassium chloride in your water softener. That will just spike your potassium, and your body cannot get rid of excess potassium. Now, the companies that make these devices, they promote potassium chloride as being healthy. It can give the average consumer with just a few glasses of water up to 11% of their daily potassium need. Now, we're drinking a lot more than a couple glasses with kidney disease. You should be drinking half your body weight in ounces unless your doctor has placed you on a water restriction. For me, I'm drinking about 120 to 130 ounces per day. Yeah, it's a lot of water, and that potassium would add up. Now, with sodium chloride, it's the same thing. It's adding a little bit of salt, and that salt can really add up. So how much sodium is in softened water? Well, it's going to vary depending on how hard your water is. The harder the water, the more sodium as a byproduct is released into your water. On average, you're looking about 160 to 240 milligrams per every 2 liters. Now, when you talk to the companies that sell these water softeners, they're going to say, yeah, it's negligible, it's minimal, it's nothing. But they're using the wrong point of reference. They're looking at the average American consuming 4,000 to 6,000 milligrams of sodium a day. Ridiculous. It's in everything. And they're saying, what's an extra 35 milligrams in every glass of water that you drink? Well, if you are consuming 6,000 milligrams of sodium, you need to stop. And an extra 35 milligrams in a glass of water isn't gonna hurt you. But when it comes to those of us with kidney disease on a sodium restriction, and you're allowed 1,500 milligrams a day, or maybe 2,000 milligrams a day, and that's not even super restricted. I've seen people restricted to below 1,000 milligrams. And then you're drinking a lot of water, because we're not drinking juice, we're not drinking soda, we're drinking water. And I drink about 100 and probably 30 ounces a day. That's a lot of water. When you look at how many, extra grams of sodium, milligrams, are in 2 quarts, and you keep adding it up, that's 3 quarts right there. That could end up being, if my water is really hard, close to 1/3 of the milligrams I'm allowed per day for sodium. Yeah. And you sit there and you do the math. You look at it, and drinking, for every 2 quarts, if you have between 160 and 240 milligrams of additional soda. I drink nearly 4 quarts a day. That means I'm getting an additional 320 to 480 milligrams every single day just from my tap water. That's why, even though I'm so strict on my diet, my labs just weren't exactly right. My sodium was still within range, but it was at the higher end. And I'm thinking, what in the world? I'm talking to my doctors. You guys know me. I don't let them just say, hey, go eat better. No. I ask them, Doc, how do I get in the middle of the standard range for each and every item? What do I do? Exactly. I want to know. And why is it not in the middle? Because I did what you told me last month. I really pushed them to help me stay within the middle of the standard range for everything in my labs. And my doctor, she just kept telling me, you're consuming too much salt. And I said, no, I'm tracking it. I got a great app and use a chronometer and I'm logging everything. And we were sitting there talking about it. And she said, well, your water, where do you get your water from? I said, oh, just from the tap. I drink a lot of it. I make sure and I drink 4 quarts a day. I have a giant water bottle. Boom, right here it is, always within arm's reach. And I drink 4 of those a day. If I'm doing extra stuff and it's a little bit warmer, I'll drink a little bit more of those. And she asked me to use a water softener. And all of a sudden, I'm like, holy cow, yes. And she says, well, it's probably the water that's giving you your extra sodium. And then I started researching things. I spoke to the companies that design these. What can I do to remove the sodium, to eliminate it, to reduce it? And of course, I hate to say this, but they were no help. They were taking the stance that, look, it's a negligible amount. It doesn't matter. And I tried so hard to explain to them, how are you calculating this as a negligible amount? And they would, dig up some stuff from corporate, from the big brands, and say, yeah, here's what it is. And it took a lot of digging to find out that they're calculating it based on a person, an average American, eating 4,000 to 6,000 milligrams a day. And then I explained sodium-restricted diets. Those with kidney disease in particular, like myself, these small amounts do add up. What can I do? But anyway, that's where the source of this information came from. If you are on a sodium-restricted diet, and every single one of you out there should be, and you use a water softener, you need to get your water measured. And you can call there's local labs in every area. I'll put the website address down below for the government entity that can point you to the right labs in your area to test your water. And sometimes when I go to Home Depot, I've even seen these free water kits that they have. You can pick them up right in the front before you even walk in. They'll have them there. You fill a little vial with water and you send it in. They will do the lab work and give you the results. Now, this company is also then trying to sell you filters and water softeners and everything. So that's okay, because if there's something bad in there, you need to know. But that's a free way to find out how much sodium is in your tap water. So what can you do? Well, the first thing you need to do is get the water tested, as I mentioned. Find out where you stand. Maybe you're lucky and your city water is low in sodium to start with. Your water's not that hard and you're just adding a little bit of sodium to it. And once you know the number, you can do the math and say, okay, I'm drinking this many quarts from the tap every day. It ends up being an extra 200 milligrams, for example, of sodium. Then instead of restricting yourself to 2,000 milligrams in your diet, you just reduce it down to 1,800. Or if you're on 1,500, you reduce it down to 1,300. Now, it could be challenging if you're on a really low sodium level. If you're only allowed 1,000 milligrams, even if you get lucky, drinking tap water is adding a lot of your allotment just there in the water. So another alternative is to supplement your water with sodium-free water. You can either buy it in the gallons at stores, or you can get those big giant 3 or 5 gallon jugs delivered. You don't need to convert over all the way to doing those. Maybe just supplement half of it. That way you're only spending $5 or $6 a week on the water that you're purchasing in addition to what you're drinking in the tap. If your water is very hard and the water already has a lot of sodium in it and it's really, really high, then your alternative may be to look at either getting it all delivered, which could get pricey over time, or installing a reverse osmosis system to remove the sodium out of the tap water. A Brita filter, they're fantastic at removing so much. They cannot remove sodium. Only reverse osmosis can. So there you go. Now you know how having softened water that goes through a water softener, can be sabotaging your kidney diet. Yeah, too much sodium just sneaking in. You didn't even know it because you're drinking all the water you're supposed to, trying to be healthy. Now, if you know anybody that has kidney disease that could benefit from this video, share it with them. This is information that's really hard to come by, and chances are none of you had your doctor bring it up, or your dietitian, when you were working with them and planning out your diet. I had to really, really push my doctors in order to get them to think about it, think outside the box, and realize, do you have a water softener? Yes, that could be where it's coming from. Because I was keeping really, really good tabs on everything I ate, exactly how much sodium I was consuming in order to get my labs just perfect right there in the middle. And I love having them right there in the middle of all the standard ranges. It gives me so much energy, makes me feel so much better, and I'm just getting better physically, which is great. Now also, make sure you have subscribed to my YouTube channel. I mentioned that in the beginning, but I always like to mention it again. Always love to have subscribers here. Click the little bell icon, you'll get a notification. You can learn more about what I'm doing on dadvicetv.com, my website, chock full of all sorts of great information, tips and tricks, what I have done and what I am currently doing to continue to get better and beat kidney disease. And last, join me on Facebook, facebook.com/dadvicetv. Become part of the conversation. Ask me questions in there. See all sorts of tips and tricks. As a matter of fact, I mentioned the water softener adding sodium to your drinking water a long time ago, but I didn't have enough information yet to create a video. So if you follow me on Facebook, you can get a little bit of a heads up of information, little tips and things before I get around to getting enough information to create a video about it. So there you go. Hopefully this is great information. It helps you, something new. Keep fighting the good fight. Remember, losing is not an option. Thanks. I'll see you next time.